Hi, I'm Donah and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, you are going to hear us discuss the differences of what's going on with race equality from the 60s and 70s till now, as well as generational differences. I am joined by my mom, who was there for the March on Washington in 1963, as well as my dear friend Denise Cooper, who is an executive trainer, coach, speaker, and author of Remarkable Leadership Lessons. If you enjoy this video, please hit subscribe, share, and like, and the little bell so you know when I upload another video. I want to continue having these conversations to help you maybe see things a little bit differently and get a totally different perspective on things so we can start to open up and heal and perhaps begin the difficult conversations that we really need to start having. So I think that we become defined by our environment, whether we think it or not.
Exactly.
I think that, I've had friends that say, that everything was great, but then next thing you know, they're stepping into an environment that is racist, but telling me that they're still fine. And I'm like, there's just no way. There's no way that you haven't changed. When I say fine, meaning there's no way they haven't picked up racist tendencies being in a racist environment. And let's face it, the fact that they can even step into that environment and ignore the racism they see in front of them really defines their own consciousness. If you are someone who is going to say, I'm okay with race, and you step into an environment where the people around you are racist, and then for you to continue to say that you're not racist is really not the truth, because the fact that you can even be in an environment and sit back and stay silent when everyone around you is saying things or doing things that are unacceptable and you're staying silent, then I think that at that point you really have to take a long, hard look at who you are and what you're doing. So I think that, goes back to your point of the people coming down here. I think when you are in an environment where certain things are okay and you accept them as okay for you too, it's not okay that it's sitting in the back of your head saying this is not fine. If you continue to show up in that every single day and adopt that and be silent and be okay, then you have to really take a hard look at who you are and what's going on in your psyche and in your consciousness, because on some level, you are accepting that.
There's some things that are so subtle that people don't know that they're racist.
Right.
Okay? And then I think there's some things that are very overt, and that because I don't know how to handle it, I am silent, and I don't know what the role of, if that person doesn't understand how powerful their silence is in making them complicit in keeping the institution of racism together.
Lewis Howes, The School of Greatness, which I just love his podcast so much. And Michael Bernard Beckwith was saying, and I agree, that the thing about millennials that's so different about this movement, and I work with a lot of millennials, is that they are actually living on a planet that they are capable of just acceptance of each other. They don't care if you're black, white. They don't care what sex you are, as far as how,
or your expression of your sexuality.
Right, they don't care. They, and I, even me, and, my generation, at least where I grew up, we really, between Mount Vernon and Co-op City, I have friends from way back then. We were really open. I remember Co-op City also, in a way, even though it was 95% Jewish. My friend that is my friend from first grade, we talk about all the time how it was like this type of, Co-op City was supposed to be this type of utopia back then in the 70s, of all different types of races being able to come together and be together no matter what. And so, when I was in elementary school, we had International Day, where people brought their food in from their homes into the classroom, and we shared and we talked about the different cultures, and we took the time to get to know the different cultures, right? Like, we did that, and I love that so much. That was part of one of the most magical things about my childhood, was that I got to get to know other cultures and experience them firsthand through their food. We learned their dances. We got to learn about their religion. And this is like elementary and junior high school. So this is like in the 70s, right? We did that. We were all about that. And you know, the 70s was all about that peace, love movement at the same time. So maybe that was all connected. Maybe that was what it was about. And then all of a sudden, I remember when my kids were younger, going to the schools, and they wanted to have International Day, but they wanted to just go to the supermarket and buy the food. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, you could no longer bring food from home in because of allergies. And I thought, well, there's no point in buying a Twinkie, you know, or whatever it is. Like, how on earth are you buying something in the supermarket and bringing that culture into the school? So now kids are no longer really experiencing, even if they go to school with someone from another culture, they're no longer really experiencing that culture. So that it's created this whole separation. Another piece of that is, so we had that connecting of the different cultures going on. And I remember my life as a kid was really magical for me because I just couldn't wait to experience all these other cultures. And that came, you know, even as an adult, it's like, how can I connect to people that are different than me? I really want to know and understand who they are. But one of the things I also remember, even though my parents were part of the black movement, is two things. One, my mom always telling me that black was beautiful, because we were really conscious of saying that to our children then because of the movement. But the other thing is that she always instilled in me that it wasn't enough to go to school with someone who is different from you. If you wanted to make a difference, you had to have them over to your house for dinner or to play or a meal. And that lesson really stood very strong because everybody who says, oh, I work with them, so I'm not racist because I work with them, or oh, I go to school with them, I'm not racist. It is not the same if you go to a certain building and you see someone of another race or nationality. It is not the same. But sitting down and breaking bread with someone begins to make a big difference because that's more of an intimate setting that you can maybe start to have a conversation and really be with them. And I'm not saying going to a conference and sitting at a table with them. That's not the same thing. It's like, how are you really having more intimate conversations? How are you inviting them to be part of your life? That is what the change that starts to happen. And one of the things go ahead.
But I think that's what's happening now. I think that's why the movement is so
different.
Yeah.
Yes, because that's what's happened with these young people.
Yeah.
And that's what they feel.
Yeah, the millennials are very much like that.
These young people are choosing their friends. I used to tell my kids that. Choose your friends from here, not from here. And that's what these people are, these young. That's why this movement is so great, because these young people are out there fighting because they want all of us. They want, it's again, I say, it's not black, it's a black movement, but behind that black movement, or right beside that black movement, is
it's a humanity movement.
Yes,
it's a humanity movement,
as you said.
And I think that is for some. I'm not quite sure that for people who live on the inner city. So
my
experience,
yeah,
because my experience is I grew up in Chicago. Chicago, even to this day, in many ways, you know, we still have neighborhoods, but I grew up in neighborhoods that were all black, and you could go 3 down, and it was all Romanian, it was Chinese, it was Korean, and so it was considered the most segregated city in the world. We may all pass through. We could go up and down Halsted Street, and you could go through 50 nationalities.
Really?
But you didn't cross over in certain areas, or you went for food, and you went and ate, but you certainly got back home.
Okay.
To be safe.
But you didn't live together.
No, we didn't live together. Not like what you're talking about.
No.
Yeah.
So I think part of the problem, and I think part of the problem is that when you become isolated like that, and then you know, those who got an education, those who, and I don't want to say that the people who are living in the inner city don't have education, but there was a movement out.
Yes. Yes.
And so role modeling, I think we all forget, role modeling is the most important and the fastest way for us to learn. I might listen to your words all day, but I'm going to watch your feet to see what you do.
Yes.
Well, you said that. Remember, you said that was the experience you had about white people was
Yes,
really
yes.
sitting back. Do you want to explain that to me? I've been watching.
When I moved here, that's what I was telling her about. In New York, we have a multicultural all over. You could go out, just like you said, the different neighborhoods. But I don't remember them being as squared off or separate as that. But anyway, as my work career, I had many friends, white, black, didn't matter. And then that we decided, or the company I was working for decided it was moving to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Now, in New York, we visited each other, or they might say, oh, drop by the house, do this, and all of that, okay? Came to Charlotte.
Yeah, I know where you're going. I know.
When the people that came with us
Right.
became different.
Yeah.
People change here.
They changed. And I don't know if they changed because they thought they were in the South, it was okay. My boss, and it would be nice if he saw this, because he'd know how I felt, but my boss was this Italian guy, sweetest, nicest thing, oh, Addie, okay, can't wait till we get to Charlotte, right by my house, I'm having all of you guys, my girlfriend that worked side by side with me, who was also black, all you guys over. Found out after we'd been here for a while, he'd had everybody over but her and I.
Wow. Wow.
And we realized even some of the people there, they changed.
Yeah.
They weren't the same.
We say they integrate into Charlotte. Something happens in this city.
And I don't think it has anything to do with the city, and you can
Go
speak
for it.
on that. I don't think it has anything to do with the city as much as it has something to do with they felt if they were in the South, and the South and the North, or Chicago and the South was so much different. So they could get down here and they could express what was deep down inside of them that they had been suppressing all that time. That's what I think. Because there were a few that were okay, but there were others that all of that racism, all that segregation came out of them. And they didn't want to be bothered because we were black. And that's what I think happened. I don't think it had anything as much to do with Charlotte. I think what happens is some of these people that come from all over, because Charlotte is the southern melting pot, like New York was the melting pot of, and Chicago, as the southerners moved during the 60s, the late 50s, 60s, and 70s, as they migrated. The migration.
Yeah.
And then, so now you have a lot of the whites migrating back to the South because we have a lot of black Northerners. So I think what happened, they came down here and felt that, like we felt we had, came to the North and we had the freedom, we could do more. They come to the South and they feel, oh, I can feel any way I want because it's accepted here, because that's the way it was accepted years ago. That's what I think more or less happens here.
I think it is a culture, because I said the same thing about black that lived in Charlotte.
Okay.
You don't get an invitation to their house either.
No. Some
Or,
of them, you got that right.
you know, and I've been, like I said, I've been in 10 places, and I always know that sooner or later, within the first 2 weeks, I'm getting an invitation to church. I've yet to get an invitation to church. I have to ask, where do you go? And then the invitation comes.
Yeah,
But here, it's like, hi.
I feel like
No, not to their house, not to,
Not
you know,
to
it was
them.
it was part of the reason the girlfriends and the divas got together, and those were two groups that all these folks were coming from someplace else trying to find.
There's some there.
I understand.
But I've never been invited.
I'm just saying. I don't think it was I think it is the culture of the South that there's this politeness that is the veil that hides a whole lot of issues around relationships and what a relationship really means, and it also defines what a relationship is. The biggest thing that I got hurt on, the thing that hurt me the most and believe me, I've been a whole lot of places and I've seen racism from the absolute clan, you ain't never gonna do, to what I call the benevolent racist, who is, oh, you poor people, let me help you. And, and they wind up smothering you because they're trying to help you figure these things out. For me, it's the way that the social system has been set up. It's not that we enable anybody. What we want to do is control you. Okay? So we've got all of that. And to the ones who are just totally unconscious because, I don't even know what they're thinking, because they don't even know what they're thinking about. It just never comes to their consciousness. But I think, wherever you go, culture eats the individual nature. You will fit in to what it is. And
so you are defining your environment, defines how you move through the world, what you think. And even when you don't think that you're a certain way, if you're surrounded by people that eventually you become that. And that's why you cannot help it's going to change your behavior. That energy is going to change.
So that was a lot. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're walking away with a little bit of nuggets to start to see things a little bit differently and perhaps begin your own conversations. If you enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe, share, and like, and the little bell below so you know when I upload my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day. Bye.